Welcome to Daily Review, your daily dose of literary exploration. We dive into books that spark curiosity and ignite growth. While our passion often leads us to nonfiction reads that empower and improve your life, no book is off limits. From gripping thrillers to insightful memoirs and compelling fiction to historical accounts, we're here to share and discuss all the interesting reads we discover. Tune in for your next great book idea.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Daily Review. We truly appreciate you joining us for your daily dose of literary exploration. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to share these amazing books with you.
If you're enjoying what you hear, please consider taking a moment to subscribe, rate, like, and comment on any of the platforms you're listening from. This really helps support our channel and allows us to get better and bring you even more great content.
If today's review sparked your interest and you're ready to dive into a copy of the book, please consider using the link in our description to make your purchase. Not only does it make it easy for you to get your hands on the book, but it also directly supports our channel and the author, allowing us to keep bringing you more great content. Thanks again for being a part of the Daily Review community.
Okay, so today we're doing a deep dive that's, well, a little different from our usual ones.
Yeah, definitely. Our source material isn't, a pile of research papers. It's excerpts from a book called The 5 a.m. Club, Own Your Morning.
Right, by Robin Sharma. And what makes it stand out is that it's told as a story. It's got characters, a journey. It wraps the whole philosophy up in this narrative format.
Exactly. So instead of just laying out concepts, we get to see them through the eyes of the people involved. There are three main characters we follow. Okay? There's an entrepreneur, and she's really struggling. Like, seriously burnt out, unhappy, even though she's built something successful.
Yeah, the text describes her as being right on the edge, thinking about doing something drastic, just incredibly low.
It sounds really tough. Then you've got an artist who's kind of lost, looking for his creative spark again.
Okay, the entrepreneur and the artist. And the third.
The third one is this really mysterious, eccentric guy. They meet him, and at first he seems homeless, but, well, he turns out to be their mentor.
A mentor who looks homeless? That's intriguing already.
Definitely sets a tone. And the core idea they end up exploring, the focus of our deep dive today, is this whole philosophy and method built around waking up at 5 a.m.
The 5 a.m. Club.
Right, and the promise is pretty big. Achieving elite performance, finding personal mastery, and basically living a more meaningful life.
So our goal here is to unpack that, to look at the key ideas, the methods, the insights that come out of this story, and figure out what they might mean for you listening right now.
Whether you're an early riser or, someone who battles this snooze button every morning.
Totally. Okay, let's start where the book starts, with the entrepreneur. She's in a bad place, despair, broken, and also really cynical about self-help stuff. She calls them pseudo-gurus.
Which is ironic because she ends up at this personal optimization conference. Her mom gave her the ticket.
Oh, okay.
And she hears this speaker. They call him the spellbinder. He talks about productivity in today's world, how we need to guard our cognitive assets from all the distractions, especially our devices. And that resonates with her.
It hits home, and then right after that talk, she bumps into the seemingly homeless guy, Mr. Riley. And the artist is there too.
Exactly. And what's immediately striking is how Mr. Riley talks. Despite his appearance, he comes out with these really profound things.
Like what?
Things like pain is the doorway into deep, and tragedy is nature's great purifier. He even quotes Jonas Salk, something about conquering nightmares because of your dreams.
Wow. Okay, so not what you'd expect. You can imagine the entrepreneur being taken aback.
Totally. And you sense her starting to wonder. Maybe her struggle isn't just pointless pain. Maybe it's, as the book puts it, preparation demanded by her greatness. A little seed of hope, maybe.
A tiny crack in the cynicism.
Yeah. And he keeps going. Talk about leadership, about growth. He quotes his own teacher saying, to find your best self, you must lose your weak self. And then that powerful Norman Cousins line.
Which one was that?
The tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we live.
Oof. Yeah, that lands.
It really does. And then comes the pitch. This guy, Mr. Riley, invites them, the entrepreneur and the artist, to fly with him on his private jet.
Wait, private jet, the guy who looked homeless?
Yep. Private jet, tail number 5AC, to his private island in Mauritius to learn the 5 a.m. method and join his 5 a.m. club. All expenses paid.
Okay, that's wild. Surely they thought he was crazy. Or hallucinating, like the entrepreneur suspected.
Oh, absolutely skeptical. Is he just repeating the spellbinder? Is the jet real? But, there's something about him. Maybe it's just desperation, thinking, my life isn't working. what do I have to lose?
Right. So they actually say yes.
They take the leap, and, spoiler alert, the jet is real. Mr. Riley turns out to be a multi-billionaire who's given most of his money away.
Okay. The eccentric billionaire probe, but with a twist.
Sort of. And he is eccentric. Twirling, quoting people constantly wearing smiley face socks.
Mm-hmm.
Part of his deal.
So they get to the island. What's the first big lesson?
It's the core practice. Wake up at 5 a.m.
There it is. The main event.
Yeah, and the promise attached is huge. Get more done by noon than most people manage in a whole week.
Wow. What do you do at 5 a.m.?
He calls the first hour, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., the victory hour. And this hour is crucial. It's not just about productivity, it's about working on yourself. He talks about strengthening your 4 interior empires. That's your mindset, your psychology, your Heartset, your emotional life, your Healthset, your physical fitness, and your Soulset, your spirituality.
Mindset, Heartset, Healthset, Soulset. The 4 empires.
Exactly. He argues that these are the real source of power, but we usually neglect them.
That makes sense. We focus so much on the external, so the victory hour is for building those up.
That's the idea. And closely linked to this is another concept he introduces called day stacking.
Day stacking.
Yeah, the idea is that your life is built day by day. As he says, each of your prized days represents your precious life in miniature. So focus on making today great.
Instead of worrying about the huge, distant goal.
Precisely. He uses a sailing analogy. Small adjustments to the rudder early on make a massive difference to where you end up miles later. It's about making small, 1% improvements, micro wins, every single day.
Just 1% better each day.
And he claims it compounds like crazy, like 30% improvement in a month, 365% over a year. The message is, concentrate monomaniacally on creating great days, and they'll stack into a gorgeous life.
That's a powerful way to frame it. Stop waiting for someday. Build it now, day by day.
Yeah. And he even brings in some neuroscience, talking about transient hypofrontality.
Transient hypo what now?
Hypofrontality.
Sure.
It's basically a state where the prefrontal cortex, the logical, analytical part of the brain, quiets down temporarily. He suggests the early morning routine helps achieve this, leading to more creativity and flow.
Okay. So getting into that creative zone more easily.
That's the claim. And the entrepreneur apparently starts experiencing this, finding she's doing her best thinking in those early hours.
Interesting. What about the other empires? Healthset you mentioned.
Oh, big focus there. Morning exercise is key. It's maxim #7 in the book. And the surprising thing isn't just, oh, exercise is good for you. It's the realization of how much better you feel consistently when you do it.
Like you didn't even know you were feeling subpar before.
Exactly. And solitude and silence are also big parts of the victory hour, escaping the noise.
Which feels harder and harder these days.
Totally. He quotes Pascal. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Contrasting that with how technology turns us into cyber zombies with broken focus.
Yeah, that resonates. So quiet time, exercise. What else?
Well, for people who commute, he suggests using that time for learning traffic university, audiobooks, podcasts.
Making dead time productive.
Right. Even one good idea absorbed during a commute can have huge long-term benefits.
Okay, so they're learning these principles on this paradise island, but the journey continues, right? They go other places.
They do. The trips themselves become lessons, like going to Agra, to the Taj Mahal.
Okay, why the Taj Mahal?
It's used as a metaphor for mastery. The point being, mastery isn't some overnight thing or just raw talent. It's a ceaseless process. It takes incredible craftsmanship, practice, sacrifice, and suffering.
It's built slowly, meticulously.
Exactly. And he uses the Challenger space shuttle disaster as an example how a tiny, seemingly insignificant O-ring failure led to catastrophe.
Right. The lesson being,
small things matter. Details are crucial. Which ties into his point about the collective deprofessionalization of business people being distracted, not focused on excellence.
yeah, okay. Where else do they go?
Rome. And in Rome, they get introduced to a more specific structure for the victory hour. The 20-20-20 formula.
20-20-20?
Yeah. 20 minutes for movement, 20 for reflection, 20 for growth. That's the basic idea, though the excerpts don't detail it fully, but that's when he gives them journals.
For the reflection part.
Exactly. Journaling is presented as really important for capturing insights, that residual wisdom from the day or the morning's thoughts.
That makes sense. Capture it before it disappears.
And then there's a really powerful visit to the catacombs under Rome.
Whoa, okay, that's intense.
It's meant to be a stark reminder of mortality. It prompts the question, who will cry when you die?
Heavy stuff.
Yeah. The insight is that on your last day, your net worth or job title means nothing. What counts is the potential you used, the courage you showed, the lives you touched, your legacy.
So it's shifting focus from purely material success to something deeper.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And he connects this to how our brains work. They're constructed for expansion. Building new habits actually changes your brain. But the flip side is scary.
What's that?
Neglect your power long enough and you'll eventually believe you don't have any. You can atrophy your potential.
Wow. Use it or lose it, basically.
Pretty much. And the artist shares something the Spellbinder said, which is key for anyone trying this. All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end.
That's a great quote. Acknowledges the struggle.
Absolutely. It normalizes the difficulty. And the book mentions using rewards to help cement those new habits during the hard and messy phases.
Right. Gotta have some encouragement.
There's also a really touching part where the billionaire talks about his late wife. He realizes the best moments weren't about money, but simple things. Pizza nights, reading, walks.
A reminder of what truly matters.
Yeah, it leads to Maxim #2, collect miraculous experiences over material things, value moments and connections over stuff.
So are we seeing the characters change through all this? The entrepreneur, the artist?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a moment where the entrepreneur gets these death threats from investors trying to take over her company.
Seriously, death threats.
Yeah, it's dramatic. But instead of crumbling, like maybe she would have before, she finds this inner bravery. She confronts them, stands her ground. It shows the internal work paying off externally.
That's a powerful transformation. From despair to defiance.
Exactly. And the book also digs into sleep. It calls the modern world situation a ferocious global sleep recession.
That sounds about right.
It talks about blue light from screens messing up melatonin, our circadian rhythms, basically how poor sleep wrecks productivity, happiness, health, everything.
So fixing your morning involves fixing your night, too.
It seems so. The artist notes he's sleeping much better after adopting the lifestyle. And this leads to a really core point. Balancing success and soulfulness. The book says, being successful without feeling soulful is the highest of defeats.
Ah. So it's not just about high performance, it's about inner fulfillment, too.
Precisely. Which brings us to the idea of heaven on earth.
Okay, what does that mean in this context?
It's not a place, it's a state of being you cultivate. Yeah. By working on those 4 interior empires, practicing gratitude, connecting with nature, art, releasing the past, being present, rediscovering wonder.
Finding joy in the everyday, not just waiting for some big payoff.
Exactly. Finding fulfillment in small things, in your inner life, not just chasing money or status.
So the billionaire shares some core principles summarizing this.
Yeah, his maxims, like own the magic within yourself.
Yeah.
Through solitude and reflection. Collect miraculous experiences. Optimal health maximizes your power. And learning to relax into magic. Finding peace.
It sounds like a holistic approach to life, really.
It is. And near the end, the Spellbinder talks about the heroic human circle, suggesting that great suffering is often part of the path for exceptional people. They use it to grow and purify themselves.
Turning adversity into fuel.
Right, which circles back to the main message. Knowledge is useless if you don't apply it. Knowledge unimplemented leaves potential undercapitalized.
So the call to action is, do it.
Pretty much. Apply these ideas to escape, as the book calls it, apathy, mediocrity, and scarcity, and unlock your own power.
And it stresses this isn't just for CEOs or artists, right?
Absolutely not. It says explicitly, supervisor, programmer, teacher, chef, doesn't matter your job. The principles apply.
Because the core message is that everyone has this capacity for greatness, for artistry inside them.
Yes, but accessing it takes work. Intentional, disciplined work on yourself, and these practices like owning your morning are the tools.
So thinking about the practical takeaways from this deep dive. We've got the 5 a.m. method itself, the 20-20-20 formula for the victory hour, Traffic University, journaling, focusing on those 4 empires, prioritizing sleep, simplifying. Yeah, lots of concrete suggestions wrapped in the narrative.
And it all starts small, doesn't it? With those 1% micro wins.
Yeah.
Stacking those good days.
Exactly, that journey. Hard at first, messy in the middle.
Gorgeous at the end.
Hopefully.
This deep dive has taken us on a fascinating journey through a unique story about owning your morning and elevating your life. We've seen how challenging circumstances can be a catalyst for growth how seemingly simple daily practices can lead to profound transformation, and how true fulfillment might be found not just in external success, but in cultivating our inner world and savoring the magic of the everyday.
It makes you wonder, what small, consistent step could you take today to start building the kind of life that would make the future you incredibly proud?